Hello, welcome to Granada Reports. We're live with the latest news in the Northwest.
Hello, on the programme this evening.
Giving evidence for the first time, the hospital nurse accused of murdering 7 babies. Lucy Letby tells a court she did not harm any children.
Addicted to heroin at just 15. Tonight, Kathy tells us how she turned her life around and now helps others.
King Charles is Auntie Margot's 5th monarch. At 109, she has words of advice for him ahead of the coronation.
Do all the good you can to all the people you can.
The return of the King of the Mountain and how his new tattoo didn't please his mum.
She grabbed my arm and said, "Did it hurt?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Good."
And it feels like we're gambling through this week already. I'll be back later on with a look at the Coronation Day weather.
First, though, the nurse, Lucy Letby, has told a jury it was sickening when she discovered she was being blamed for the deaths of a number of babies when she was doing the job she loved.
She's been giving evidence at Manchester Crown Court where she denies murdering 7 babies and attempting to murder another 10 at the Countess of Chester Hospital.
Our correspondent Mel Barham was following developments for us in court. Mel.
Yes, Lucy. Well, this is the first time that we've heard directly from Lucy Letby as she began giving evidence in her defence. She wept as she told the court that she was devastated at being accused of murdering 7 babies and attempting to murder 10 others. It was sickening, she said. I couldn't believe it. I don't think you can be accused of anything worse than that. Asked by her defence lawyer if she'd done anything wrong, no, she replied. I only ever did my best to care for them. My job was my life, and I've always prided myself in being competent. She said when she was accused of these crimes, her whole world stopped. Wearing a black suit and trousers, she sat at a desk in the witness box, flanked by 2 female security staff. She looked pale and drawn as she began giving her evidence. She told the court that she'd always wanted to work with children and she'd been the first person in her family to actually go to university. She explained how her mental health had deteriorated after being taken off the unit and then arrested. She also explained how she'd been diagnosed with PTSD following those 3 arrests, which she described as the scariest thing that she'd ever been through.
Mel, Lucy Letby was also asked about those handwritten notes that were found at her home in Chester.
That's right, Lucy. She said that she'd always written things down. It was just her way of expressing her feelings. She was asked, well, why did you write in one of them, I am evil, I did this? She said, I felt if I'd done something wrong, if I'd done that and didn't realise, then I must be evil. She was asked about the babies and the staffing on the ward during that 12-month period. She said that she'd been looking after babies with more complex needs on the unit, with conditions that she'd never experienced before. And when she was asked whether that staffing had been changed to reflect that, she replied, no, it hadn't. Asked about Facebook searches that she made on the parents of the babies in this case, she said it was just general curiosity, I suppose. They were on my mind at that time. Was there anything sinister in those searches, her defence barrister asked her, because you understand that that is the suggestion that's being made here. It's babies that you have heard. Is that what it's about? And Letby replied, it's not. She got very upset as photos of her home were shown to the court, including her bedroom. It was here that more notes were found by the police. She was asked why so many handover notes were found at her home. She said that she'd just taken them home unintentionally. She was then asked about a swear word that was found on one of those notes at her home. She said it referred to what she felt about some people. When she was pushed about who those people were, she replied it was 2 consultants on the unit, Dr. Ravi Jayaram and Dr. Steve Breary, because of what they were saying about me, she said. Finally, she was asked by her defence barrister directly, have you ever tried to kill any baby that you cared for? No, she said. Have you ever intentionally harmed a baby in your care? No, never. What did you want to do for them, she was asked. Just to care for them, do my best for them, to look after them. Well, she denies all the charges against her. She will continue giving her evidence on Friday when the trial resumes.
Mel, thank you. Mel Barham, our reporter there.
Well, next tonight, and 3 years since she was stabbed to death in a park in Bolton, an inquest has begun on Emily Jones.
Emily was only 7 when she was attacked by Eltiona Skarner, who was a paranoid schizophrenic.
Speaking through his solicitor, Emily's father, Mark Jones, said it was clear there were failings in Skarner's treatment by the Greater Manchester Mental Health Foundation Trust.
Tim Scott has been in court, which has heard details of the day of the attack.
Yes, Lucy, the Bolton coroner, Timothy Brennan, told the court that Emily Jones died from a single stab wound to the neck, struck by paranoid schizophrenic Eltiona Skarner. She died, he said, in the most horrific and grotesque of circumstances. Emily's father, Mark Jones, was in court today, and a transcript of a statement he'd given to the coroner about the events of that day was read out. He said he and Emily had gone to Queen's Park in Bolton on March the 22nd, 2020 to meet Emily's mother. Emily was on her scooter and he was walking behind her. He said he saw a person who we now know to be Skarner get up off a park bench and move towards Emily, who then cried out. When he reached his daughter, she was lying bleeding on the ground. Emily was airlifted to hospital but later died. Skarner was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum of 10 years for Emily's manslaughter. Mark Jones's solicitor, Stefan Kwasnick, said the family want the treatment of Skarner's paranoid schizophrenia to be fully investigated. She was under the care of the Greater Manchester Mental Health NHS Trust, and he said the family believe there were failings in her treatment.
Tim, the inquest has been hearing from one of the senior detectives in the case.
Yes, former GMP Chief Inspector Duncan Thorpe confirmed that Skarner came to the UK in 2014 from Albania and claimed asylum. She was sectioned under the Mental Health Act a year later and then sectioned again in 2017. And he said that details of an incident in 2017 when Skarner had turned up at a friend's house brandishing a knife and making threats hadn't been logged onto the GMP's police computers. The inquest continues tomorrow. Lucy Gamal.
Tim in Bolton, thank you.
Well, next, for Mental Health Month, we're starting a special new series. It features extended interviews with remarkable people on a number of tough issues. They range from forgiveness after the loss of a child to resilience in the face of a tough medical diagnosis.
Well, tonight we meet Kathy Doyle from Liverpool. Kathy became addicted to heroin when she was just 15.
Later, she was prescribed methadone, the drug sometimes used to help people get off heroin. But during COVID lockdown, Kathy, who's now in her 40s, decided to get clean from all drugs.
She now volunteers with a charity called With You to help take addicts off the streets and turn their lives around, just as she did. What can you tell me about the time you first tried heroin? What do you remember about that time?
The first time I tried it, I was told it was cannabis melted on tinfoil, and back then there was a lot of people who smoked cannabis, and I was already going through a difficult stage with a lot of trauma that had gone on in my childhood, so I tried it. And it turned out to be heroin, and the feeling it gave me of numbing me and stopping all this traffic in my brain, it spiralled then. Ended up going out shoplifting, robbing my family every day. At my worst, my habit was £600–700. I was out on the streets, the red light district. Sorry, Mum. But yeah, it consumed me.
People often say that when you go through that road to recovery, even when you come out the other side, you're still an addict. You know, you're still dealing with those demons.
I'll always be in recovery, always. I can say I'll never go back to heroin, and I'd never go back on methadone. But there's so many addictions in life. It's unbelievable. There's alcohol, there's tablets. There's so many of them. So to say, you can never say never. But living in the present moment, I know today that I'm safe. And I've got the right support around me now.
And if you could bump into that 28-year-old woman on the street, what would you say to her?
I'm proud of you. Keep going and never give up.
Does it make you sad when you see her? Or does it make you empowered now?
Yeah. No, I'm proud of who she's become. Because no matter what life threw at her, she still got through it. She never give up, never give in, and I'm just so grateful, and the gratitude I've got, and that I'm still alive. And that the attempts that I made to end my life, I'm glad it did nothing, because I've been missing out on every process I've been through in my life and the journey, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
And just finally, Kathy, your message to one of our viewers who may be at the very start of their journey to recovery.
Never lose hope. Never give it on yourself. And just be true to yourself. You can achieve anything you want. See it. So vision it. And just reach out. I'm not special. I'm just a human being like everyone else. Whatever everything I've been through doesn't make me this strong superwoman. I'm just human. So I've got the tools now to be able to pass on to other people, and the knowledge, and that's what I intend to do.
Kathy, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks to Kathy for sharing her really powerful story, which we hope might offer some hope to others. And we will have specially extended versions of these interviews, as I said, on our website. You'll find them at itv.com/Granada. And once you're there, you can also find information about the support available.
Yeah, a remarkable woman. Now, 8 fire engines from the northwest are joining the UK's biggest fire aid convoy to Ukraine. They left Liverpool as the city prepares to host Eurovision on behalf of the war-torn country.
Yeah, they've been donated to replenish much-needed medical resources to help as a show of support to Ukrainian firefighters.
It's even more poignant now than it's ever been, the fact that crews are going to mobilise from our city and the city of Liverpool at the point at which we're going to arrive in the Ukraine, just on the cusp of the Eurovision Song Contest. The UK Fire and Rescue Service is doing the best it possibly can to support the Ukrainian firefighters and our colleagues during the crisis.
Yeah, it's very moving to see the strengthening bond growing between these two cities. And with just days to go till Eurovision, a new peace monument has been unveiled in Liverpool.
It's at the world-famous Strawberry Field, the former children's home made famous by the Beatles song. Paul Crone was at the opening ceremony.
For once, the gates at Strawberry Field in Liverpool weren't the main attraction today. Taking centre stage, the unveiling of the global Ukrainian Peace Monument in the gardens of the Salvation Army run attraction, where Beatle John Lennon played as a child.
John, seemingly when he wrote his song Strawberry Fields Forever, found peace here as a young boy when he climbed over the wall and spent hours playing here. So, it's recognised by music lovers as a place of peace, certainly for John.
Cast in aluminium, the 16-foot-tall statue depicts a figure holding aloft a book, a dove and the Ukrainian flag. Symbols much appreciated by the guests who gathered for the opening, one with a special reason to be there.
Of course, it's John, it's Strawberry Field, and John, I think, is going to be, his biggest legacy is going to be the search for peace himself.
Now, the bad news is that the monument here at Strawberry Field will only be on show temporarily. But the good news is that its final resting place will be in Ukraine when it's safe to do so.
All we are saying, come on.
Paul Crone, ITV News, Strawberry Field, Liverpool.
All we are saying.
Yeah, great message. Lovely statue as well. Let's get on to sport now, and Jurgen Klopp waits to learn his fate after seeing red on Sunday, Mike.
Yeah, that's right. He's been explaining his part in a row with a referee during Sunday's Premier League win against Tottenham. He admitted, in his words, the whole thing should never have happened. The Football Association is investigating Klopp's post-match comments, which appeared to call into question the integrity of referee Paul Tierney. After his side's late winner, Klopp ran down the touchline to celebrate in front of the fourth official and received a yellow card from Tierney. He later suggested the Wigan referee had something against Liverpool.
The whole situation it shouldn't have happened at all. That's how it is. Was out of emotion, was out of anger. The refs think that I question the integrity of a thing. If in a moment when I'm calm, sitting here, I don't do. Of course not. We won a football game 4-3 in a very spectacular manner, and the only headlines we had I created, and I really regret that.
Now, how important could this man's goal turn out to be? Hayden Carter scored his first goal for Blackburn last night. It rescued a 1-1 draw in their final home game of the season against Luton Town. They must now beat Millwall next Monday to have a chance of a place in the Championship playoffs. Well, when the football season reaches its conclusion, that usually means the TT races are just around the corner. Only 4 weeks to go now until the Isle of Man welcomes tens of thousands of visitors from across the world to watch a fortnight of racing on the island's roads. Joshua Stokes has been along to this year's launch party.
I want the time. All my people right there in the back of the spot.
It's loud, it's fast, and it's back. In just over a month, the Isle of Man comes to life with the sound of speed. And despite last year's rumours of retirement, Morecambe's John McGuinness is back, making his return to the mountain.
I just wanted another bite of the cherry. If I ride the bike and I know I've done the best of my ability, and it happens to be 6, then I'll be happy. You know, but I know in myself when I'm giving it my best. This year, I just want to be sharper from the start, just enjoy it, soak up all the atmosphere, you know, and there's not many places in the world where you're still allowed to do things like this. So I'm in a good spot.
What better man to start with than this? John McGuinness on the #1 Honda.
For McGuinness, it comes after a year of celebrations. His 100th TT start, 50th birthday, and an MBE to name a few. But he also ended last year with a bit more than he bargained for.
I was under a bit of pressure. Everybody's like, get a tattoo, get a tattoo. So I just crumbled under a bit of pressure. But I was worried because my mum hates tattoos and proper nervous about going home. And she was a bit cross with me. So she grabbed my arm and said, "Did it hurt?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Good."
And with a new year comes a new teammate. And for 2023, it's local lad Nathan Harrison. The 24-year-old Manxman bagged his dream partnership in only his second TT.
He's a hero of mine, to be fair. I grew up watching John win senior and superbike races, and yeah, it's a bit of a surreal experience, to be fair. Obviously, it's only my second TT, so to be joining up with John at 24 years old, a Manxman, and only my second TT is a proper dream come true. Obviously, I got 10th in my first senior TT last year with my family-run team, so the whole plan is just to progress, see where we end up, and hopefully we can just keep moving forward and go in the right direction.
But for returning favourites, it's another opportunity for trophies.
Peter Hickman has been on fire all week.
To win 4 in a week was pretty epic, to be honest. You know, it was 4 wins, it was a second place and a third place in the other 2 races. So overall, I had a very, very successful TT 2022. We couldn't have asked for too much more, but obviously as a racer, always want a little bit more. Successful TT would be a big smile on my face, on the boat home, and a few big trophies next to me.
Often described as the greatest show on earth, the Isle of Man TT is set to once again attract fans from around the world. Now, with just under a month to go, as the countdown to TT 2023 continues. Joshua Stokes, ITV News in the Isle of Man.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Always great to hear from John McGuinness, one of the bravest sportsmen you'll ever meet. Races around the Isle of Man at 200 miles an hour. Still terrified of his mum, though.
Yeah, still shocking your mum at 50. I think that's great. Have you got any tattoos?
No, my mum would never have allowed that. No chance.
No, I don't think she would, actually. Mike, thank you very much for that.
Now, as the coronation fast approaches, one of the oldest women in the Northwest has offered some very important words of wisdom to His Majesty the King.
Yeah, she is Marjorie Hodnett, who is 109. She's affectionately known as Auntie Margot. She's lived through 2 world wars, 22 prime ministers, and now 5 monarchs.
Very impressive facts there. She's been talking to Lauren Ostrich.
Think of all those clothes she's had to put on, and then this heavy crown, and carry this and that.
Do you remember watching this at the time?
Yes.
Reminiscing on times gone by. Marjorie Hodnett, known to everyone as Auntie Margot, is something of a celebrity in Sefton. The former teacher has lived in Formby Manor Care Centre for the last 3 years, after moving up from Devon to be closer to family. At 109, Auntie Margot is said to be the oldest woman on Merseyside. She celebrated the milestone with cake, countless presents and a birthday card signed by the King himself.
I've got 5 photographs of the Queen, and then I didn't want to live to be 109, so... But then I changed my mind because I wanted to have a photograph of the King, and instead of a photograph of the King, I got that one.
Auntie Margot was born in 1914 in northwest London. She was married twice, first during the Second World War to Stanley, but after he died, Margot married Hayden, Stanley's brother. The centenarian remembers King George V on the throne in the 1920s, as well as the abdication of Edward VIII in 1939. She can also recall King George VI's reign right up until 1953, when Queen Elizabeth II was crowned, and she'll be flying the flag for King Charles's coronation on the 6th of May.
No other country's got anything like it. We can really do those well. I think he's going to be a good one, and she'll be very good with him. They should have been married in the first place. But at that time, they weren't allowed to marry anybody except royalty or aristocracy.
Margot, if you could give one piece of advice to our new king, what would it be?
Do all the good you can, to all the people you can, in all the places you can, in all the ways you can, as long as ever you can.
That's what you'd say to the king?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think everybody should do that. Be a nice place, wouldn't it?
Certainly would.
Lauren Ostrich, ITV News, Formby.
If only everybody did that.
Auntie
Margot, thank you. Wonderful chat with you for tonight's programme. Now the weather with Jo.
Have you burnt tea again?
I'm scraping the cooled oil into the bin, not the sink.
Can we eat outside? It's nice.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. It's taken its sweet time to brighten up across many parts of the region today, but we're in for a decent end to things this evening with some sunshine around, another dry day in the offing for tomorrow, and in fact again on Thursday. But by Friday, we can expect a few heavy and potentially thundery downpours. Projecting ahead to Coronation Day on Saturday, and for our part of the world, it should be dry and fine. This is Saturday's chart, and at the moment there will be some showery rain across parts of the Midlands, the southwest and Wales. But here in northwest England for the Isle of Man, it will be a dry day with a bit of brightness and temperatures just above average for the time of year. Back to the here and now, and into this evening it's settled and quiet after a nice end to the day. Long clear spells tonight, a gentle breeze. The air is still quite mild, however, so there won't be any frost tonight. Even rurally, probably not much below around 6 or 7 Celsius. Bit of patchy rain perhaps for the Isle of Man before dawn, but a dry end to the night for most places. And those are the sun times for tomorrow. Rising at 5:32, setting at 8:44 tomorrow evening. Tomorrow, a bit of a cloudy start in places with that showery rain around in the far west initially, but dry to start for most of us. Bit of a breeze picking up through the day, but some decent sunny spells, hazy at times. Tomorrow afternoon, though, that sunshine will feel pleasant. 16, maybe 17 Celsius in 1 or 2 spots during the day. A dry night to come tomorrow night for many. Some showery rain perhaps creeping in here and there, but Thursday, not a bad day. Friday, there could be a few heavy, thundery downpours. And on Saturday, things look dry and fairly warm. Bye-bye.
It's a little bit burnt.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thanks, Joe. Tomorrow we have an exclusive report on the gripping new Netflix thriller being filmed in Cheshire. It's based on the Harlan Coben book, Fool Me Once. It stars Michelle Keegan, who's been telling us what it's been like coming back to her roots.
It's going to be a good one. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.